And every time I read these crazy side effects on these MS drugs, I thought, I'm going to get those. If anyone's going to get them, I will get those. I'm very sensitive. But I didn't even know what other option I had. So I did, over a period of 30 days of a month, I saw the top three neurologists in San Diego, MS specialist, anything you can think of to try to get a second opinion. They all said the exact same thing: progressive, no cure, medication your whole life, lesions, wheelchair. And they were pressing me to choose a medication and go on it quickly. And I was having a really hard time with that. It was very overwhelming for me to make these serious health decisions and have these four babies I had to take care of, and just the life of a mom anyway. And it was a lot. So it took me a while to kind of figure things out. But my doctors, their recommendation was, MS drugs immediately is what they
And what kind of
recommended.
side effects? I'm just curious because every time, you watch TV and you hear about the prescription drugs that are out there and all the side effects, I'm just like, man, why would anybody want to be on that? Like
Exactly.
diarrhea and all these crazy things like thank you, but no thanks.
Exactly. And I mean, it's like, your liver failing. One of them was brain cancer. I
What?
mean, yes. And so these are the drugs that people are taking. So what's happening is a lot of times people think that they say, well, I'm not going to I'm not going to stop taking my MS medication because I am so sick on it. I can't imagine how I'm going to be without it. Yet they don't realize that a lot of the reasons they're not feeling well is that medication, is the side effects of those medications. And I mean, a perfect example is a friend of mine, Chad Serino. He's one of the singers on The Great Big World, that song that says "Say Something, I'm Giving Up on
Mm.
You." That was really big last year, and he has MS, and he was on medications and so sick until he realized the same thing. He changed his diet and took a totally different path and realized that wasn't the MS, that was the medication that was
Wow.
making him sick.
So
The side
cool that you
effects are just
influenced that.
horrible.
Yeah.
What's that?
So cool that you could share that message with him and help him too.
Oh yeah, it was really, really neat. Very cool. Yeah. So, so for about, 30 days, I'm listening to the doctors and feeling very pressured to take this medication. And I'm also extremely depressed because I'm researching online what MS is, and I'm looking at all these things, and everything is hopeless, scary. There's just nothing that's giving me any hope or any other options that I'm looking at. And so
So,
I,
so what
mhm.
what did you, I mean, okay, at that point, you've got the people around you that love you, but you're overwhelmed and you're feeling like there's not a whole lot out there for you to really kind of, use as a positive example. What did you do to really start to get things back on track? Because I know that there was kind of a pivot point for you.
There really was, and it was my husband. He sat me down one day after I had just been like crying and like just so overwhelmed, and he sat me down. He said, "Aurora, I understand this is hard for you. It's hard for our whole family, and it's scary, but you need to do something. You need to fight this." And he said, if you keep acting how you're acting right now, you're going to put yourself in a wheelchair by what's happening up here. And he pointed, to my mind, to my brain,
Hmm.
because he said, mindset is everything. And that's where this is going to start. And you've got to fight this. You've got to ask God to help you and ask him what he wants to show you through this, and get out of this hole. And it was like, I felt like I was in this pit and a hand went down and pulled me out of it.
Hmm.
And from that point, I really felt like I can fight this, and I have no idea how or what I'm going to do, but I felt like this strength, like I'm going to do this. Like I can do this, and I'm going to ask God to help me. And I have my husband's support, and there has to be something has to happen. And that's really the point where I really just shifted my thinking and how I approached it, instead of like being a victim and just listening to all these horrible things that I was being told about the disease. Was really just trying to find information and figure this out. And from that, the doors just started opening. And so what I decided to do was I sent out an email to everybody I knew, explaining what had happened to me, and asked them to please put me in touch with anybody they knew that had MS, because I wanted to see, what are these people on? How are they doing? What does someone with MS even look like? What's their
Right.
life like? I had no idea. So I had, I'd been a journalist in DC back in the day. So I kind of went into journalist mode and I had this notebook and I just started interviewing people all over the world. I had, people write me, oh, my aunt in Australia, or, oh, you're this lady at the school. And I would just ask them, what are you, when did this start? What were your symptoms? What medication are you on? How's it working for you? And what I found is that about 35 people, everyone was on medication, different kinds of MS drugs. They all still had MS. They all still had MS symptoms 10, 15 years later. And now they had not just MS, but they had MS and fibromyalgia or MS and rheumatoid arthritis. And I thought, hold on a second. Aren't these drugs supposed to help stop the progression? It just seems like people just keep getting sicker. So as I really researched the progression from what the doctors say, it's the very what it does for the disease is really not much from what I understand, and what it does to really bring about a lot of other symptoms and other diagnoses is really high. And so I decided at that point, I don't, this medication isn't for me. I got to figure something out. So there was one of those people that I interviewed that was on MS drugs, but he was also going to this holistic center in Encinitas called the Center for Advanced Medicine, where they taught him how to eat for MS and take supplements to help the MS. And that just blew my mind. I thought, what does eating have to do with MS? I don't
Right.
understand. Like, I seriously, like, now I
You
laugh.
didn't make the connection.
Yeah, like really no connection. I was like, what? Food and this disease, it's a disease, what does it
Yeah.
have to do? No connection whatsoever. But desperate, being blind for 30 days, having all these doctors pressuring me to get on medication, I went to this place just to see, and this was my last resort. If they didn't give me something, I was just gonna have to pick a medication and start doing that for the disease. And so when I got to this place, I felt really uncomfortable because it wasn't like a real doctor's office. It felt kind of strange, and the people were weird.
When you say a real doctor's office too, what does that mean? Like,
Like
the total
like what we're
sterile
used
kind
to,
of,
a traditional doctor's
right.
office. There was like people hooked up on IVs getting these vitamins in them, and there was like, it was just a weird, to me it was like a very creepy environment, which now I'm very comfortable in. So but it was just strange for me. And so when I went in and I told the doctor what had happened to me, he said, okay, lay down on this table, and he started massaging my neck. And I got up and I said, what are you doing? I am sick. I have lesions on my brain. I'm going to be in a wheelchair and you're giving me a massage. I don't need a massage. I need help. I need information. And he said, you don't understand. Your optic nerve connects to your neck. And by doing this, it's going to help to stimulate your eyesight back. Not just that, but you are extremely deficient in so many vitamins and minerals. We need to get you on a regimen of a supplement regimen that you need to really adhere to strictly to get your levels up. And we need to change your diet. You need to stop eating gluten because gluten causes inflammation in the body. You need to eat more of this. And he just completely just threw all this stuff on me. And I walked out of there telling myself I will never ever go back there again. These people are crazy. I've just been conned by these like crazy holistic people. Of course, insurance covered none of it, and so it was like out of pocket. I thought it was like a crazy expense, and I just didn't understand it. But at the same time, I also knew I wasn't healthy. I wasn't eating well. Never took a supplement in my life. So why not at least try that? And it can't hurt, I thought. So I did. I started taking the supplements when he would tell me, it was like very, very detailed. Like, after you eat this, you're going to take this supplement and you're going to do that, and it was just, and I followed everything. 2 days after this massage and putting these supplements in my body. So this is when I really, it blows me away. It wasn't a month. It wasn't a year. It was 2 days later. I started seeing some light out of my right eye.
2 weeks.
Two days.
Oh, 2 days.
2 days. I called my doctor and I said, I can see light out of my right eye. What's going on? He said, don't get excited. I told you your vision will never come back. It's just sometimes things, are like nerves are firing off and you might see some little light or shadow, but don't get excited. I was like, oh, okay. So I just kept on following this plan of changing my diet. I wasn't exercising at all yet. It was just pure diet and the supplements. And little by little, within 2 weeks, my vision was coming back. I would see light, and then I would see more light, and then I'd see some color, and then the color would be clear. And 2 weeks after that massage and doing those changes, incorporating just really whole foods into my diet, which my body was just shocked to receive, my vision was back. And it wasn't just back, my vision was back better than before because, like I mentioned, I was due for a checkup on my contact lenses. And when I went in after I got my vision back, she said to me, "We need to decrease the prescription in your right eye because your vision has
What?
gone up."
Okay,
And at that
hold the
point,
phone for a second.
yes.
You, this is crazy. Okay, so from eating better, eating clean, and getting the massages, you went from having no vision to having better vision than you had before in two
And my vision
weeks.
going up better than before because I had pretty bad vision anyway. My contact from I wore contacts since I was in eighth grade, and my vision wasn't that great anyway. So when I went in, my vision had improved so much they had to lower the prescription in my right
That's
eye.
amazing.
It's amazing, and that's when I was sold. I said, I don't care how crazy these people are at this holistic center. I'm going to follow what they're saying because the top three neurologists in San Diego told me I would never get my vision back, and I can see better than before. So what else don't they know, or what else aren't they telling me? I need to learn more, and that's when I just dove into everything that this center would tell me, all the recommendations. Just really, it was just solving the root cause of where is this coming from, instead of saying, oh, you have lesions, you lost your vision, you have these symptoms, you have MS. Okay, you checked the box, and here's your medication. See you later. Good luck to you. It was a different approach, and it gave me hope. It was solving the root cause and finding out, where is this coming from? How is your stress level? How do you manage stress? What's your diet like? Oh, wow, you really don't have a good diet. Okay, how about exercise? I don't exercise. Okay, we need to change that. And just really from the foundation up, changing all of this. And that's really what began to make the difference. So that's what I followed, and just really dove into everything that was changing my lifestyle and finding out about diet and supplements and all these different things, and solving the deficiencies in my body. I was so deficient.
What did they identify, by the way, that you were deficient in? I'm curious.
I mean, well, vitamin D is a huge one. Anybody who's diagnosed with anything from the flu to cancer and everything in between is vitamin D deficient. And what happened, I was shocked because I thought we get vitamin D from the sun, right? And we do. But what happens is that a lot of people who are autoimmune, like I lived in Miami, I lived here, I've lived a lot of places where I've been in the sun all the time, and my body just doesn't make vitamin D like maybe someone else's who's in the sun. So I need to take a supplement to have my levels at the right level for my vitamin D. So that was one of the things I was really shocked about. A lot of minerals, vitamin B was low, my vitamin A. I mean, I was just pretty deficient in everything because my diet was so poor.
Hmm.
It was really poor. And not just that, but I had been nursing children, and I had had babies, and I hadn't taken care of
It
my body
literally, yeah, takes it out of you.
properly. Huh? Yeah, it really did. So,
So, okay, so
mhm.
you got your food house in order, slowly but surely, and you started to learn more about really addressing the root cause, like you said, versus just, remedying the symptoms. So, how did you become a mega triathlete? I mean, that's a big jump from going from being completely, inactive and eating badly, poorly, to really turning your life around. I mean, and I know you mentioned you volunteered at that triathlon, but what were the steps that got you to this point?